Welcome to Inami TV, where devotion meets inspiration. In a world full of noise, take this moment to pause and draw near to God. Every devotional here is prayerfully designed to reveal Christ, guide your thoughts, and revive your soul through His Word. So open your heart, reflect deeply, and let today's message renew your walk.
A man's integrity may not shield him from wounds, but it shields his soul from rot. Betrayal cuts deepest when it wears the clothes of friendship. Michael sits now, not in bitterness, but in mourning what he once believed about loyalty, leadership, and truth.
Michael, your leadership and integrity are unmatched. Your contribution this quarter set a new benchmark. It's amazing, isn't it? How words on paper can glow with honor, while the hands that wrote them now tremble with resentment toward me. I gave my all. Not just skill. I gave trust, belief, sacrifice. I stood in the rain so others could stay dry. And now, I'm the stain they all avoid. I walk those halls and it's like I've become invisible. Not because I lost my value, but because I kept it. My silence, my refusal to bend, that's the crime I committed. It hurts. It hurts in places no bandage can reach. These weren't strangers. They were comrades. Colleagues. Some even called me brother. But where are they now? One by one, they looked away, chose comfort over courage, applause over allegiance. Do they even remember I stood by them when it was their turn in the fire? Probably not. That's the thing about integrity, it doesn't leave room for bitterness, even when your heart begs for it. It asks you to forgive when all you want is justice. To smile when all you feel is shattered. This one was from Mr. Desmond himself. Keep this up, and you'll be seated among the executives soon. Well, I kept it up. I kept the honesty, the discipline, the late nights, the weekends sacrificed. But I guess I misunderstood. He didn't mean that kind of integrity. He meant keep up the agreement, the silence, the loyalty to power, not to truth. What haunts me isn't their betrayal. It's how easily they turned. No pause. No second thoughts. Just quiet distancing, like I became poison overnight. And still, a part of me wants to believe in people. In change. In restoration. Maybe that's the part they fear. That I still believe goodness has a place in this broken world.
They that sow in tears shall reap in joy.
I didn't lose. Not really. I just chose the longer road. The harder one. But in this silence, I hear God more clearly. In this emptiness, I feel His nearness. If this is the price of truth, then I must believe the reward is greater still.
Integrity isn't the absence of scars. It is the story behind them. Every wound Michael carries now bleeds with purpose. Every disappointment carves a deeper well for grace. And the man who walks through betrayal with clean hands walks taller than empires built on deception.
20 minutes. That's how long it takes from my front door to that glass cage they call an office. 20 minutes, where I drive through a city that looks beautiful on the outside, but beneath its polished roads and streetlights, it carries a sickness. And I feel it. Not in the air, but in the silence of people who used to smile at me. Now pretending I don't exist. This car has become more than a vehicle. It's become a confessional, a courtroom, and sometimes a battlefield. I fight thoughts in here. Thoughts that tell me to just give in. To just sign like they want. To just blend in and stop standing out. But how can I blend with the rot? How can I be silent when truth is bleeding and no one wants to stop the hemorrhage? I remember when I first joined the company. I had dreams. dreams big enough to light a city block. I believed in systems. I believed in policy. I believed that excellence would be enough. But I learned quickly that systems can be rewritten, policies can be twisted, and excellence means nothing when corruption signs the paycheck. I still see that day, the first time I realized something was wrong. When a project budget was inflated, and I asked why. I was told, "Don't worry, it's above your level." Above my level? I thought I was hired to think, to question. But no. I was hired to agree quietly and sign obediently. That was the real job description. Project Genesis. Or should I call it Project Greed? I know what they did. I've seen the paper trail. Payments for consultants that don't exist. Equipment built twice. Contracts awarded to ghost companies. I raised my voice. Politely, professionally, then persistently. And what did it earn me? Isolation. Marginalization. My name erased from teams I helped build. Judith saw too. She's not blind. I saw the discomfort in her eyes the day I refused to endorse that travel expense for a trip that never happened. But what do you do when fear is the atmosphere of an office? You either join the silence, or they make you the example. I guess they chose me. I once walked into a boardroom and greeted everyone. No one answered. I sat down, and the lead manager said, "Let's begin now that all relevant people are present." They laughed. I didn't. Because I knew what they meant. I wasn't relevant anymore. Not because of incompetence, but because of inconvenience. My presence reminds them of the truth they've buried. They tried subtle at first. Moving my desk. Excluding me from emails. Changing deadlines without informing me. When I didn't break, they moved to stronger tactics. Character attacks, questioning my loyalty, whispering that I was difficult, proud, dangerous. But what's dangerous about integrity? What's difficult about asking for accountability? I'm not perfect. I have my flaws. But corruption offends me in ways I can't explain. Not just because it's wrong, but because it's so casual. So effortless. Bribes don't shock anyone anymore. They're coded as thank yous, tokens of appreciation, facilitation fees. But I know what they are. And I've refused every single one. There was a man, Mr. Desmond, the kind who smiles with two faces. He once told me, "You're too rigid, Michael. There are ways things get done here." And by ways, he meant shortcuts, backdoors, and bloody handshakes. But I told him then, and I'll tell anyone again, my soul is not for sale. I wasn't raised to bow for breadcrumbs. I think of my daughter. Of how I'll explain all this to her someday. That I lost promotions because I didn't sign a lie. That I walked alone in the corridor because I chose not to shake stained hands. That her tuition was delayed because I wouldn't approve a fraudulent check. Will she understand? I don't know. But I hope she'll see I chose the narrow road. Every time I pass through this city, I wonder, how many others are driving like me? Torn, burdened, disappointed. Good people caught in bad places. How many of them are silently screaming? How many are tired of being the only ones who still care? They say integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching. But what if everyone's watching? And laughing? What if your rightness becomes their entertainment? Still, I'd rather be laughed at for my convictions than celebrated for my compromise. Because the applause of men fades. But the approval of God, that echoes in eternity. So I drive. Through this rain. Through this city. Through my doubts and my fears. I drive not because I enjoy it, but because purpose calls. I am not a hero. I'm just a man with a line I refuse to cross. Let them plot. Let Desmond whisper his threats. Let systems conspire. My knees have found strength in prayer. My heart still finds light in the Word. And my hands, though trembling, are still clean. And as long as they are, I will keep walking into that building. Head up. Shoulders back. Truth intact.
He that walks uprightly walks surely. Proverbs chapter 10 verse 9. The journey of integrity may be lonely, but it leads to a place compromise can never reach. And those who choose the road of truth, even when it hurts, become voices history cannot silence.
Good morning, Miss Judith. I got your request to come in. I assume this is regarding last week's performance evaluations? Or perhaps something routine like the annual training calendar? It's just that your message didn't specify details, and it caught me off guard. But of course, I'm here. What do you need from me this morning?
Good morning, Manager Cletus. Please, take a seat. This isn't about the performance reports. This is about something far more pressing. Something more dangerous. It's about integrity. It's about the core values this company claims to uphold but continues to trample every single day. It's about transparency. It's about something that has long been ignored in this organization, accountability. And today, we're going to have an honest conversation about what's really happening behind closed doors.
All right. I'm listening. But I hope this isn't about Mr. Michael again. That man seems to enjoy creating storms in teacups. He's always digging, always suspecting, always causing unrest. Some people don't understand the politics of peace. They create noise where silence is needed. And to be honest, his energy lately has become a distraction more than an asset. This company can't run on paranoia.
Storms in teacups, Mr. Cletus. When an employee consistently raises concerns about financial discrepancies, ghost contracts, misappropriated funds, unapproved disbursements, and internal cover-ups, that is not a storm in a teacup. That is a storm you helped create. That is a storm that has grown into a tornado threatening to sink this entire ship. And instead of addressing the warning signs, we chose to silence the thunder. Today, I need you to stop dancing around and start telling the truth.
Miss Judith, I think you're being a little dramatic. Look, every big organization has gray areas. Things aren't always black and white. Sometimes, flexibility keeps a system running. You can't apply rigid rules to fluid circumstances. Money has to move, decisions have to be made quickly, and not every transaction fits perfectly into policy frameworks. If we paused to explain every step, we'd never get anything done.
Flexibility, that's the word we now use to justify fraud. Is that what we call bribery now? Is that how we've rebranded corruption, flexibility? I sat through every internal audit summary of the last 24 months. The numbers don't lie, Mr. Cletus. But people do. People cover. People hide. People manipulate. I reviewed every suspicious fund release. I traced signatures. And I need to know today, were you one of them? Were you part of the machine that punishes the honest and rewards the deceitful?
Look, Madam HR. I've been in this company longer than most. I've seen how things operate, and I've learned how to survive. Not everything is by the book. Sometimes, people make judgment calls to protect the brand, to keep operations flowing. And yes, some payments don't go through the formal channel. But they serve a purpose, to keep things running smoothly when bureaucracy gets in the way. If you want to survive here, you learn when to follow rules and when to bend them.
And that purpose is what exactly? To enrich a few while sacrificing the soul of the organization. To destroy men like Michael who refuse to dance in your circle of shadows. I have gone through internal memos you signed, project extensions with no justifications, budgets inflated overnight, staff reassignments done off record, consultant fees doubled with no clear deliverables. And I found your signature, Mr. Cletus, on every single one. Your pen became the weapon that buried ethics in this place.
You're digging into files that don't concern HR. You're walking into territories that could damage reputations, including your own. You think you're fixing something, but you're inviting a flood. You don't know the people behind those files. You don't know the forces that operate above our heads. Be careful, Judith.
If protecting reputations means burying the truth, then I want no part in it. I took this job to be more than just a processor of CVs. I took this job because I believed a healthy workplace begins with honesty. I believed I could make a difference. I wanted to believe this company still had a conscience. But now, I know that difference begins with confrontation. And I will not back down from what I now know to be true.
You don't understand how far this goes. If you pull one thread, the whole garment comes apart. If you take this further, the blowback won't just hit you. It will ripple through departments. Friends will turn. Phones will stop ringing. Doors will close. You will lose things you never even knew you had.
Let it come apart. Let the lies unravel and the silence break. Because we've built too many towers on sand. And if this company must fall to rise again, then so be it. I'm not afraid of the fall. I'm afraid of pretending everything is fine while it quietly rots beneath us. I'd rather burn for justice than decorate the walls of a collapsing empire.
Why are you doing this? You've been here long enough to know how the game works. You've seen what happens to whistleblowers. Why are you siding with the man the system has already marked for destruction? You still have a future here. Don't waste hope for someone who's already lost.
Because I've finally realized silence is not neutral. When I say nothing, I speak volumes. When I ignore the rot, I become its accomplice. And Michael, he may be the lone voice today, but he's the voice I should have joined long ago. He reminded me that truth still has a voice. That conscience still matters. If there's still a shred of dignity left in this place, then I must help him pull it from the fire.
Do you know what you're risking? They'll come for you next. They'll isolate you. They'll freeze you out. You'll become the example they use to teach others never to challenge the flow.
Then let them. I'd rather fall for truth than rise with lies. I'd rather be alone with my integrity than surrounded by applause soaked in betrayal. And I'd rather walk away with my conscience clean than stay with my position filthy. I am not afraid of losing my seat if keeping it means losing myself.
Be careful what wars you start, Judith. Sometimes, the enemy isn't just across the table. He's right behind you.
In a world where compromise is currency, truth becomes rebellion. But when even one heart dares to rebel for what is right, the tide begins to turn. And though storms may rise, justice remembers its name.
Still working late, Judith? You've always been so thorough. That's what I used to admire about you. Until recently. Now, your diligence feels more like surveillance. Your silence like judgment. You know, it used to be that I'd come into this office and find a dependable ally. But now I walk in and see suspicion burning in your eyes like a wildfire waiting to consume every structure we built together. You disappoint me, Judith. You really do.
The integrity of this department is not something I compromise on, no matter who walks through that door. I used to believe we were working toward the same goal: fairness, transparency, justice. But what good is partnership when one hand is building and the other is dismantling everything quietly in the dark? This desk, these files, these employees, we owe them honesty. Not manipulation.
Let's stop dancing. You and I both know what this is about. That boy, Michael, has been talking too much. And I know exactly where he got the nerve from. You. You've been feeding his delusions of righteousness. You've been lighting a match behind my back, not realizing that fire burns everyone, even those who started. Judith, I came to you before. I gave you a chance to remain on the winning side. But you walked away from that conversation like a martyr. Like a fool. Why?
Because truth is not a side, it's a standard. And when we last spoke, I saw something behind your words. Not leadership, not wisdom, but fear. Desmond, you're afraid. You're not angry because Michael is talking. You're terrified because someone finally dared to name the rot you've carefully hidden behind metrics and charm. I've watched you cut corners and bury complaints like they were weeds. But corruption doesn't stay buried forever. It grows back, stronger. You think people like Michael are weak because they ask questions. But the weak ones are those who silence the truth just to protect their illusions.
Watch your tone. I built this company's reputation from the ground up. I didn't get here by being naive. You think your little documents and emotional speeches scare me? I've buried worse scandals before lunch. I've silenced voices louder than Michael's with a single phone call. I've watched good people walk away just because they didn't have the stomach for what it really takes to survive here. But I stayed. I endured. And now you dare to question me with your polished ethics and bleeding heart righteousness?
Then maybe it's time someone unearths them. I will not bury truth to protect a lie wrapped in your ambition. Your threats don't scare me, Desmond. They disgust me. You use people like shields, sacrificing anyone who won't play your game. But I'm done playing. I've stayed silent, nodded politely, looked away when policies were twisted. But not anymore. We are not pawns in your chess game. And if standing for what's right costs me everything, then let it. Because my dignity isn't negotiable.
You're brave now. But what happens when that file disappears? When this case gets reassigned mysteriously? When the board starts questioning your judgment for relying on unverified accusations? You think they'll thank you? You think Michael will stand with you when everything collapses? You're not a heroine, Judith. You're a name on a future report, dismissed, disgraced, forgotten. That's the price of foolish defiance.
I think heaven will send me peace. And that's more than you've known in years. I hear it in your words, you're not confident, you're cornered. You've built walls of success but forgot the foundation of truth. And it's cracking, Desmond. It's cracking fast. My peace comes from knowing that even if I fall in honor. You're standing in power, but it's borrowed, fading. One day, when all this crumbles, and it will, your name won't be remembered with reverence but with regret.
I warned you once. This time, there will be no second warning. Choose wisely, Judith. Because I will not fall alone. I will drag down every hand that tried to point at me. And your name will echo not with justice, but with ruin.
Then prepare to fall. Because I will not cushion your landing. I will not flinch. If this office becomes a battlefield, then I choose to be the soldier who died with honor, not the tyrant who lived in shame. Let it begin. I am not afraid.
You'll regret this.
No, I already regret staying silent for so long. I am warning you now to refrain from your evil ways. This is my final warning to you, Mr. Desmond. You have corrupt the minds of these young ones in this company.
Sometimes, darkness knocks with a smile and walks away with a threat. But in the face of fear, even a whisper of courage becomes thunder. Judith didn't shout. She simply stood. And in that quiet resistance, something holy began to shake. In the twilight of ambition, even the faintest spark of truth can become a blaze. Mr. Desmond felt the flame flickering at the edges of his empire. Michael, once a quiet thinker in the shadows, had begun to speak aloud. And where there is voice, there is power. A single whistleblower might topple mountains, and Desmond's mountain was shaking.
Yes. It's time. The HR head is starting to piece together things that were never meant to be seen. Michael. He's not as meek as we thought. His mouth. It has gained the voice of thunder. If this keeps up, it won't be hushed hallway rumors, it'll be etched in headlines and boardroom minutes. And then everything we built will burn.
Which means we must act quickly. You want to stay ahead of this, not just react. So, what's the plan? How do we handle our newly vocal friend Michael?
I want him undermined. Not fired,
At least not right away. Firing him now would raise alarms, draw unwanted investigation. No, we need to do it subtly. Spread doubt. Let shadows grow around his reputation. Portray him as unstable, a lone wolf stirring up trouble under false pretenses. We flip the narrative. He becomes the problem, not us.
And how do we shape that story without it blowing back? What methods are we using? Our usual tactics, or something more creative?
Push the narrative quietly. Some well-timed gossip to the red ears. We'll make people wonder, is Michael really the hero, or is he a zealot? Seed doubt where it counts. Maybe an anonymous email hinting he was seen arguing with upper management. A rumor of him missing a deadline, or secretly meeting with a competitor. Just enough to poison the waters.
It's a delicate game. If someone digs too deep, it could backfire. What about his support network? Those who know him well, could they expose our angle?
Isolate him. We'll cozy up to his allies, even pretend to help. We'll warn them quietly, we're only protecting the company. That way, when he's quietly edged out, they'll accept it as a necessary move. If anyone suspects, we'll accuse them of being biased toward Michael. Everyone else will see Michael as the lone rebel causing chaos in the name of morality.
Got it. Wolves in sheep's clothing. And the HR head? She's been pulling the strings, she's a wild card? Getting too curious, isn't she?
Oh, she's troublesome. She's honest, she wants justice. Which is exactly why we need to placate her. I'll feed her a compromised version of events. She'll get a taste of progress, just enough to keep her busy. Think what keeps bureaucrats busy: paperwork, protocols, committees. We'll promote her to head an internal compliance review. Mountains of meaningless forms and endless deadlines. She'll be buried in red tape. By the time she finds a single thread worth pulling, we'll have woven so many nets around Michael that pulling on one only tightens the web around him.
Brilliant. We'll give her enough rope. By the time she realizes it's a noose, she'll be too entangled in her own work. And Michael? After we tarnish his name, he'll be a loose end we can cut quietly.
Exactly. Quietly. No one will suspect us. Michael will rant about Inusitic, don't you think? The whistleblower made into the sacrificial lamb.
You've considered every angle, I see. With all this, the truth will stay buried deep, under layer after layer. No one suspects the architects behind the curtain.
They never do. That's our advantage. It's how we've survived so long. People see what we show them. If this trouble with Michael persists, we might have to escalate subtly, like funneling blame. But for now, we keep the board focused on quarterly goals, not on employee grievances. Quietly, we maintain order.
In rooms like this, language is a weapon and silence is a shield. The powerful dance between truth and lies without stepping on each other's toes. Mr. Desmond knew the steps well. To him, whispering deceit was an art. Outside, midnight faded to black, but the seeds of a dark dawn had already been sown. Proceed as planned. And remember, if anyone asks questions, I'll give them answers they want to hear. We stick to this script.
Understood. Thank you. Keep it tight. If anything goes awry, I'll handle it personally. I am in the company's control room, so I will help them with all the information they need to get.
The wolves remain in the shadows, then. Good night, Mr. Desmond.
Good night.
He walked away wearing the grin of a champion, though champions often fight battles nobody sees. The hallway was quiet as Mr. Desmond returned to the world. Passing staff offered polite greetings, unaware they had just crossed a smile from a man who traded favors under the table. Yet, in this darkness, a higher judge remains vigilant. There is one who notes every whispered lie and counts every corrupt act. Mr. Desmond may think he has obscured the truth, but the candlelight of justice, though flickering, is not so easily snuffed out.
Miss Judith, thank you for coming on such short notice. We called this meeting with heavy hearts and open ears. We've heard fragments of information and the weight of uncertainty has been almost unbearable. Now that your investigation is complete, we are eager to have you walk us through every detail you've uncovered. Michael's future, and indeed the integrity of this company, hinge on what you tell us. Please, don't hold back any information.
That's right, this board has been carrying a very heavy burden these past weeks. The burden of doubt and responsibility has settled on our shoulders, and frankly it's been nearly too much to bear. We need to know exactly what light you've shed on this situation, no detail spared. We are listening, Ms. Judith.
Thank you everyone. For the last several days I have pored over every piece of evidence, interviewed all witnesses one by one, and meticulously sifted through the logs. There were moments when I felt like a miner deep underground, searching for even a glimmer of truth. Yet truth is a relentless light, it finds a way to shine through. What I found, though it pains me to say, ultimately clears Michael entirely. The gaps in our ledgers and the suspicious transactions we discovered, they do not belong to him. In fact, they trace back to actions taken by someone else within this company. I have recorded it all in this report.
You're saying Michael is innocent of these charges?
Absolutely. Michael has been nothing but forthright throughout this ordeal. Even when early evidence seemed to point towards him, he held fast to the truth. He answered every question with honesty and even volunteered documents to prove his actions were transparent. I felt guided, as if a lamp in the darkness, because every fact eventually aligned with his innocence. His character was tested like gold in a fire, and he remains pure and untarnished.
I'll admit I had my doubts, but hearing what you say, it's like a terrible storm breaking after a long night. So who, then, could truly be responsible for these discrepancies? Who had both the motive and the means to do this without being detected?
The trail leads to Mr. Desmond. I know it's hard to hear, he's been with this company for years, a seasoned senior member. My first instinct was disbelief, but the evidence is clear. His credentials were used to authorize those transfers. At first glance, a single irregular entry might seem like a glitch. But then patterns emerged, showing consistent misuse of his access during critical windows. The audit logs, email timestamps, witness recollections all point squarely at him. The long night of confusion is ending, daylight is breaking, and the truth about Desmond is undeniable.
Desmond, he has been with us a long time. It's shocking to even consider him capable of wrongdoing. I'm finding it hard to reconcile the idea of Desmond doing this. How can you be certain?
Yes, Desmond. We double-checked every angle. There was no sign of an external breach or a random system error. Everything traces back to his office workstation, his login, his approval codes. If you look at the timeline posted on the platform this morning, you'll see exactly when and how he overrode controls to push through those transactions. I wish I could believe it was a mistake, but the facts don't leave room for that. It's as if the long night of uncertainty is over, and clear morning light is here at last.
We appreciate the evidence, Miss Judith. It's clear you've done your work thoroughly. Honestly, hearing Michael's name cleared like this, it feels like witnessing a cloud parting after a storm. A tremendous weight has been lifted from his shoulders, and from ours as well.
Yes, indeed. Michael has shown an integrity beyond our expectations. We may not wear capes, but to me, he's felt like a hero in this situation, facing baseless accusations and remaining brave. It reminds me that our trials often bring out our finest qualities. His character was truly tested like gold in a fire, and he remains unscathed. We are privileged to have seen such steadfast honesty in action.
Thank you. It's been important to me to see that justice is done. What Michael did, and the way he endured this trial, reminds me of an old saying, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. He's been polished by pressure, and the result has been something beautiful. Trials have revealed his pure character.
Your point is well taken. A company is built on trust. If we cannot trust our own people and leaders to do the right thing, what are we? Michael risked everything, including his career, to stand for what is right. We should honor that courage in him.
Indeed, Judith, with these findings, we have a heavy responsibility ahead. We must not act out of haste or anger alone. We owe it to ourselves and to the spirit of this company to move forward with both justice and mercy. How do you recommend we proceed?
Confronting the issue directly, but with compassion, is the only righteous path. We should lay out the facts clearly and allow Mr. Desmond to respond. We must approach him not as an enemy, but as a respected colleague who is being given a chance to explain. This afternoon, in this very room, we should bring him in and present the truth. Let him know that light has come to this matter, but also that mercy is offered if he cooperates and does the right thing.
I agree. No more delays. Mr. Desmond will come in, and we will speak plainly. We will be guided by evidence and by our conscience. It's time to lift any remaining veil of uncertainty. I want the truth, even if it's painful, and I want it today. Thank you, Miss Judith. What you've done does more than clear an innocent man. It protects the integrity of us all. We will call Mr. Desmond in this afternoon. Let us enter that meeting humble yet resolute. As the proverb says, first remove the beam from your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from another's eye. Today, we strive to remove all blindness from our vision and act according to what is right.
I will prepare everything and be ready for the meeting. No one should suffer needlessly, and I will do my utmost to keep our process fair and just. May we handle this matter in a way that honors our values.
Very well. This company was built on a foundation of character, and we will uphold that foundation now and always. Thank you, Judith. Let us proceed with courage, clarity, and compassion. Mr. Desmond, please have a seat. This isn't a routine meeting. The matter at hand goes deeper than numbers. What we discuss today will define the future, for you, for us, and for the integrity of this company.
He should stand there. Mr. Desmond, we're not gathered here for assumptions. We're here for accountability. Ms. Judith has completed a full-spectrum investigation. What she uncovered has far-reaching implications, and we expect full transparency, as leaders, as guardians of this institution.
Good afternoon, Mr. Desmond. What I'm about to present will be painful, but truth always is when light confronts shadow. Still, truth is necessary. I owe it to the company, to my conscience, and to God to say it plainly, boldly, and without fear.
I'm sorry, but from what I understood, this was about simple accounting errors. If there's been a misunderstanding, I'll clear it up. I've done nothing wrong, nothing that warrants this intensity.
Then allow us to begin. Judith, open the case.
From what we have seen on the screen, I have sent a copy to us all. On the surface, it appeared to be irregular transfers. But when I traced deeper, what I found was something far more troubling. Not only were funds diverted, your credentials were used at very specific times. But the real story unraveled when I discovered attempts to sabotage the investigation itself.
Sabotage? That's outrageous.
Is it? Then explain the encrypted files deleted remotely from my system the night before my report was due. Explain the false audit logs planted to implicate me. Explain why I traced those intrusion attempts back to your terminal in the control room, after hours.
Control room access. You had no authorization to be there, Desmond.
Let me give a detailed information on Mr. Desmond activities. On March 10th, March 12th, March 13th. 3 late-night logins came from your ID and your face on the security feed. You didn't just access the control room, Mr. Desmond, you used it to erase and reroute security protocols. You tried to make me look like the traitor.
This is fabricated. Someone set me up. I never.
No, you set it up. But you failed to realize something. I foresaw the risk. I mirrored all investigation data to an off-site secure server. I embedded traceable beacons in every file you tampered with. Each time you touched the system, I got a timestamp, a location, and a live ping.
My God.
And there's more. Encrypted call logs recovered from the internal network show late-night conversations between your office line and N0S, belonging to Mr. Cletus. Yes, Mr. Cletus. You both conspired to shift the blame onto me. He fed you internal documents, you modified them, and together you plotted to leak a falsified trail pointing to me as the insider. What you didn't know is, Mr. Cletus came forward. He confessed yesterday, voluntarily. His conscience couldn't carry your lie anymore.
You weren't covering a shortfall. You were orchestrating a betrayal. A cover-up. An execution of someone else's reputation to shield your own. And you did it all. Under the name of loyalty.
We trusted you. You weren't just a colleague, Desmond. You were a cornerstone. We looked to you for leadership, for integrity. How did you let it rot?
I thought I could fix everything. I thought if I shifted blame long enough, I could find a way to cover it all. I didn't want to lose everything. I panicked. I was afraid.
Fear doesn't justify betrayal. There's a proverb, the lion may be feared, but even it bows before the truth. You tried to destroy what you didn't understand. You saw justice coming, and instead of owning your sins, you tried to paint someone else with your guilt.
The road to ruin is paved with schemes masked as solutions. Your intentions don't redeem you, Desmond. Only truth does. And even now, it has spoken. You may resign. Quietly. Your name will not be dragged, but your deeds are written. You'll walk out of here with the weight of what you've done. Redemption isn't in our hands, it's in the way you live after this.
I understand. I will resign. I will go. I'm sorry. To all of you.
Very well. Your resignation will be effective immediately. We will arrange everything. It's done. Let this be a lesson to us all.
Goodbye, Mr. Desmond. I hope someday you find peace with what has happened here.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions, Mr. Desmond. It's an old saying, but it rings true here. If you believed you were protecting the company, this is not the way. There is no shortcut where morality is concerned. A foundation built with deceit will crack under its own weight. Desmond, you were lucky. You should be behind bars. You have put this company in jeopardy. The burden is lifted. Let's inform Michael and close the day. Michael, thank you for staying late. We have some news. Good news, I promise. Please, sit down.
I am good, ma'am.
Thank you for your patience, Michael. You've been more than reasonable.
After Miss Judith's thorough investigation, I am relieved to tell you that you have absolutely nothing to answer for. You are completely exonerated and cleared of any suspicion. The board made mistakes in doubting you, and for that we are truly sorry.
That's right. Our findings show that Mr. Desmond was responsible for the irregularities. Your name was dragged unfairly through the mud, and we owe you more than just an apology. We owe you our gratitude and respect for how you've handled yourself.
Thank you. I was just trying to do what felt right. I never expected thanks, especially not after all this. I'm just grateful I can keep working here honestly.
You're far too modest. What you did took real courage. You've proven that integrity is your compass. I want you to know how much we respect and admire you for it. You truly are a pillar of this company. You've earned your peace of mind. Tomorrow, we will inform everyone of the truth. Your record will remain untarnished. You can get back to the work you love, without any shadows of doubt hanging over you. And honestly, you should go home and rest. We need you at your best.
That's wonderful to hear. I was starting to wonder if this day would ever come. I look forward to moving on with clear skies. That means more to me than I can say. I didn't do anything special. I just tried to have faith that honesty would see us through.
The wait is over. We will make sure everyone knows the truth. In the meantime, go get some well-deserved rest. You absolutely deserve it after all you've been through.
It ended not with applause, nor scandalous spectacle, but with solemn truth. The boardroom, once a place of power, became a courtroom of conscience. Desmond entered with denial, but exited in disgrace, not in handcuffs, but with resignation. Not detained, but merely dismissed. The evidence was too complete, too clear, too damning. Justice had waited. But it did not forget. Beside him, his accomplice, Mr. Cletus, was named, and dismissed shortly after. The one who whispered in shadows was finally brought into the light. What they conspired in secret, God had exposed in full. For though men may hide from each other, no one hides from the one who sees all. Desmond once stood tall in the company's halls. He mentored. He led. But slowly, quietly, he compromised, one small lie at a time. Not to destroy, but to survive. Not to betray, but to preserve. Or so he told himself. Yet no matter the excuse, sin has a cost. And yet, the company did not fall. Because in the midst of deception stood Judith, armed not with weapons, but with wisdom, foresight, and unshakable courage. She knew the price of silence and chose truth, though it put her in danger, though it nearly cost her reputation. And beside her stood Michael. Quiet. Accused. Waiting. A man whose faith never wavered. He didn't fight to be seen. He believed that if he stayed upright, the truth would stand with him. And it did. Judith fought with facts. Michael endured with faith. And the company, though shaken, was not destroyed. Because it had something no fraud could counterfeit, conviction. Desmond's fall became a warning. Cletus's exposure, a revelation. But the story didn't end there. The board, humbled and wiser, vowed to rebuild, not just the structure of the company, but its soul. Yes, Desmond was asked to resign. Yes, Cletus was found out. But we do not gloat. We reflect. For only God knows every man's heart. And though judgment fell today, mercy still speaks. May this remind us all, that no lie lasts forever. That the righteous may suffer, but they will not be abandoned. And that truth, no matter how long it takes, always finds its voice. Michael's name was restored. Judith's honor was lifted. And the company? Refined, redeemed, and ready to rise again.
When I first heard the accusations, I felt my world shake. For a moment, I thought my dreams were over, that I'd lost everything. But deep inside, a small flame kept burning. I trusted in something greater than myself, and in the silence of this office, I found a quiet courage. I remembered words passed down through generations. Blessed is the man who believes when all seems lost, for he shall be rewarded with a new dawn. And so I held on to that hope. I prayed all night for truth to come to light, for the storm to break. And just as every dark night eventually gives way to morning, so has this trial turned. Faith has been justified. I understand now that trials come not to crush us, but to carve us into something stronger. Like steel refined by fire, I have emerged more resilient than before. I've learned that character isn't revealed in calm waters, but in raging storms. If they call me tested, let it be known I did not break. Instead, I stand here purified by this fire, grateful beyond words. No matter the darkness, the truth will find its way, just as surely as night yields to dawn. I leave this room not with anger, but with gratitude. For even as one chapter ends, another begins, when I step into wiser, kinder, and more determined. Character was truly tested. And now, it is illuminated. Truth has triumphed.